Major League Baseball players earn big with guaranteed contracts and face lower injury risks, promising longer careers. Yet, some stars still end up broke despite these perks. Join us as we explore how even the best players can mismanage their millions. Stay tuned to learn from their financial fumbles. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everyone. Let's take a closer look at how these baseball legends drop the ball on their finances. Lenny Dykstra. Once a baseball hero, Lenny Dykstra swung for the fences with the New York Mets during the unforgettable 1986 World Series. Back then, Lenny was all about those breathtaking home runs and making a name for himself. But fast forward to today, and he's more famous for a series of financial and legal strikeouts post-retirement. After hanging up his cleats, Lenny had pocketed a cool $36.5 million from his time with the Mets and the Phillies. Despite this, keeping that money turned out to be tougher than hitting a curveball. Post-baseball, Lenny drove into the business world, opening a string of car washes that actually did pretty well. He even carved out a reputation as a sharp, self-made investor. Quite the pivot from athlete to financial guru. However, his high-rolling lifestyle and a few too many foul balls in the legal department eventually ran him into the ground. The law caught up with Lenny not once, but twice in 2012. His rap sheet included a 3-year stint for car theft, and as if that wasn't enough, another conviction for bankruptcy fraud and money laundering that added 6.5 months to his time behind bars. You'd think all this trouble would teach him a lesson, but Lenny swung back into the headlines in 2018 after a run-in with an Uber driver landed him in more trouble. Although he dodged a conviction that time, the incident supposedly torpedoed a lucrative under-the-table deal with Amazon that could have netted him a comeback fortune. It's likely that Lenny looks back on these decisions with more than a few regrets. Denny Mlan. Denny Mlan was once on track for baseball immortality after his stellar performances in the late 60s. However, by 1970, his life took a dramatic turn. Mlan found himself suspended from baseball due to gambling, marking a steep fall from grace. This suspension was just the start of a series of misfortunes for Mlan. Upon his return to the sport, he never secured another victory, and his financial troubles deepened, leading to a bankruptcy filing during his 1970 season. The downward spiral didn't stop there for Mlan. His post-baseball years were marred by legal troubles, including convictions for racketeering, drug dealing, and extortion. These crimes landed him in prison for a total of 23 years across various sentences. Adding to his woes, a meat processing business he started also went bankrupt by 1974. Denny's legal troubles continued well into his later years, with his last arrest coming in 2011 over an unpaid debt, although those charges were eventually dropped. Considering his string of legal and financial defeats, having charges dropped probably felt like a small victory to Mlan. Scott Eyre. Scott Eyre's story is a cautionary tale about the importance of being careful with whom you trust your money. Eyre wasn't the biggest star in baseball, but he did earn a substantial sum over his career, enough that he might have settled into a comfortable retirement. However, his financial stability was upended shortly after he celebrated the Phillies' 2008 World Series victory. His downfall began when he invested his earnings with Robert Allen Stanford of the Stanford Financial Group, a name notorious for orchestrating one of the biggest Ponzi schemes ever, defrauding investors of a staggering $8 billion. Caught in this massive fraud, Eyre watched helplessly as his wealth evaporated, leaving him with nearly nothing. All his accounts were frozen, save for one that held a mere $3,000. At one point, he revealed that he was down to his last $13, a shocking plummet from his previous financial status. In a bid to stay afloat, he even accepted an advance on his 2009 salary, which would be his final year as a professional player. After retiring from playing, Eyre turned to coaching, earning far less than what he might have enjoyed had his investments had been secure. His transition from a well-off retired player to a coach making a modest income underscores the dramatic shift in his fortunes. all because he trusted the wrong person with his hard-earned money. Jack Clark. Jack Clark, known as Jack the Ripper for his prowess at the plate, couldn't quite hit a home run with his finances. Despite a lengthy career from 1975 to 1992, Clark's penchant for luxury wasn't sustainable. He collected 18 cars, each costing anywhere from $26,000 to a staggering $700,000, and lived in a $2 million mansion. Yet by 1992, he found himself swamped by financial woes, including $400,000 in overdue taxes and a mountain of credit card debt. His first plunge into bankruptcy didn't keep him safe for long. By 2018, Clark was declaring bankruptcy again. This time around, he was drowning under $550,000 in debts, while he and his wife were bringing in just $120,000 annually. That's a tough spot to be in, especially when you realize that most of the financial damage was self-inflicted. Clark's story is a classic case of living beyond one's means. The thrill of the game and the allure of fast cars brought him momentary joy, but the long-term consequences were devastating. After his second bankruptcy, he had to significantly downsize his lifestyle, a challenging transition for someone who once lived in the fast lane. Rollie Fingers. Rollie Fingers, a Hall of Famer known as much for his iconic mustache as his pitching skills, racked up an impressive $5 million during his baseball career. However, by 1989, just 4 years after retiring, Fingers found himself filing for bankruptcy, buried under nearly as much debt as he had earned, $4.5 million. What led to such a dramatic reversal of fortune? Mainly a series of poor investment choices. Fingers ventured into the real estate market, buying and renovating old houses with the hope of flipping them for profit. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to sell these properties for enough money to cover his costs. On top of that, he poured substantial sums into Arabian horses, each costing a small fortune, a decision that baffled many, as few could see the high value in such extravagant spending. Fingers didn't stop there. He also invested heavily in wind turbines, which turned out to be another financial misstep. According to his wife, these ventures resulted in losses totaling at least $4 million. This string of bad investments forced Rollie Fingers back into baseball, albeit in the MLB Senior League, not for the love of the game this time, but because he desperately needed the money. Leevon Hernandez. Leevon Hernandez, a standout in the world of baseball, played in a whopping 500 games over a 17-year career. That level of dedication brought him an estimated $53 million just from his contracts, a sum that seems almost impossible to deplete. Yet, Hernandez proved it was all too possible. By 2017, a mere 5 years after hanging up his cleats, he was filing for bankruptcy. The extent of his financial troubles was staggering. He owed money to more than 50 creditors, including the IRS, multiple credit card companies, and various other businesses, totaling over $1 million in debt. To add to his woes, there was also a $200,000 loan from a businessman that he couldn't repay. At this point, Hernandez disclosed he didn't even have a bank account. The car he drove? Not his, just borrowed from a friend. Trying to keep afloat, Hernandez was earning money here and there as a pitching tutor, running what he described as a secret cash-only business. However, when it came time to officially declare bankruptcy, his application was rejected. The reason? He failed to provide the necessary documents to the court. This blunder could suggest a mix-up or a deeper confusion about managing his finances. Either way, Hernandez's story turned from a tale of sports success to a sobering lesson on financial mismanagement, illustrating just how quickly fortunes can turn without careful planning. Pete Rose. Pete Rose is a name that stirs up a lot of feelings among baseball fans. Known for an incredible career with a record 4,256 all-time hits, Rose's achievements on the field were overshadowed by his off-field controversies. He was banned for life from baseball in 1989 due to accusations of betting on games while managing the Cincinnati Reds. Although he initially denied these claims, Rose eventually admitted in 2004 that he had indeed bet on games, including those involving his own team. The gambling scandal was just the start of Rose's troubles. A year after his ban, he found himself in prison for tax evasion, serving 5 months. Despite these setbacks, it seems Rose didn't quite learn his lesson. Fast forward to 2018, and his divorce documents spilled more beans. Despite earning a hefty $1.2 million a year, he was reportedly squandering much of it on gambling. The documents also revealed substantial debts to casinos and significant amounts of unpaid taxes to the IRS, factors that contributed heavily to the breakdown of his marriage. Rose's financial mismanagement didn't stop at gambling and tax evasion. His ongoing legal battles, including hefty attorney fees related to his divorce, only added to his fiscal woes. Today, despite his legendary status, Rose remains banned from the Hall of Fame, and his financial difficulties are a stark reminder of how personal decisions can dramatically impact even the most storied careers. What are your thoughts on the financial missteps of these baseball legends? Ever wondered how someone can go from millionaire to bankrupt? Share your opinions and stories in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more.